Hello, this is Keith with LVJ Motorsports, and today I want to talk about radio installations and some of the things that it takes. Everybody believes that when they buy a radio, everything they need is in the box. From the antennas, the antenna mounting hardware, a remote speaker, or some way to mount the head unit of the radio. And I've got a lot of stuff out here on the table, and I'll remove some of it here in a second. But some people just don't do research, and they find out on the day they're trying to install it all that, what do you mean there's no antenna in this box that's only 8 inches by 12 inches by 4 inches? But somehow that is the case. So let me put this on pause real quick, and I'll break out some stuff and we'll talk about radios. Alright, so the first part of the radio is understanding the two different types of radios. This is a remote face radio. The body of the radio gets mounted remotely behind the seat, under the seat, in the center console, wherever you'd like to do it. This is the cable that interconnects the two, and this comes with the radio. This is a single body radio, and obviously you can see they both have a power cord. So let's talk about power to the radio. All radios come with, I don't know how long this is, but it's at least 6 or 7 feet, and will easily reach from the radio where you mount it to a power supply in your truck. An option is a plug-in, 12-volt plug-in. The problem with this is when you off-road, like some of the plugs you have for your cell phones, they work themselves loose over time. So power, and then I have another, where is it? Here it is. This is what I send along with the radio. This is a tap and a ring for the ground with a piece of heat shrink, and then this is called a T-tap. And you'll put this, and I have a video on my website, but this is how you can get power from in the passenger footwell. So let's push the power stuff out of the way. Let's go to the actual mounting of the radio. Now, the 2300 radio, it actually happens to come with a mounting bracket that mounts here. The 2730, the 5100, and the 4100, you need a mounting bracket that looks like this. What's nice about these brackets is it comes with all the correct hardware. And this radio sits inside that bracket. You see what I'm saying? I have a kit, we'll talk more about this in a second, but I have a kit called an MBF4 that comes with that bracket, but in addition to that bracket, it also comes with a mounting bracket for the head unit, and we'll talk about that real quickly. So the head unit, this thing's got really strong magnets on it, really strong magnets. And so you screw the magnets to the back of the radio here and here. And then this bracket has these little cups in it. And you can remove the radio so it's not seen, or when you're not using it and you don't want someone to break into your vehicle. But you can remove these. You can pull the head unit off, unplug it. That's where the cable goes in. Some people use ram mounts. This is a ram mount I had in one of my trucks, and you can see there's a cable here, and I had to kind of cut it so the cable could get in, but that was how I had the head unit mounted in my truck. In my case, I just used double-sided tape. Let's see, here it is. So currently in my Gen 2 truck, I have this bracket that I sell. It's powder coated, and the head unit goes on it here like this. I just use double-sided tape, but you could use this mount bracket, this magnet bracket, and this mounts to the left of the steering wheel under the A-pillar. So that's an option. So you got to figure out how you're going to mount the radio. Well, let me back up. First, you need to figure out what type of radio you want, remote face or solid body. Then you need to find out how you want to mount the radio, and you need a bracket for it. You need to know where you're going to get power. You need to know how you're going to mount the head unit, whether you use a bracket like this, or the other one. Also for the 4100, I sell that same very similar bracket, but it's smaller. All right. Next, the microphone. So the microphone on the solid body radio attaches right here to it. Seems pretty simple. But on a remote face radio, where do you want the mic? Now, if you have this radio mounted up in the headliner, you don't always want the mic hanging from here. This radio is nice that it has a port for the control wire and then a port for the microphone. But normally the microphone mounts into the head unit here over here. So if you want to remote and extend the microphone cord, because it's only this long, this is a good way to do it. This pin here plugs in there. The microphone plugs into that one. If you want to make a cleaner look, I have this cable. So this piece, you cut a hole in your dash, you cut a hole in your center console, you mount this in here, and then this cable snaps into the back of it, and then the other end of it snaps into the radio. So that's an option for extending the microphone. So those are things that you need to make sure you're keeping track of. All right, I'm going to pause it a second and clear off some of this stuff. So the next part of this is hearing the radio. If you have this unit, and here's the speaker for it, mounted in the center console with the lid down on your center console, you may not hear it. This radio, the speaker's right under here. If this is mounted behind your back seat, in the center console, or under the driver's seat, you're not going to hear it. So one of the things that you can do is you can buy an extension speaker similar to this one. I sell this on my website. And this simply plugs into the back of the radio. There's a port on the back here, and you plug it into this. If you want, one of the things that I've done is I make this kit that's about 12 feet long, and it comes with the taps so that you can plug into the back of the radio and then put these T-taps on the wire that goes to the center speaker. I find that using the center speaker is a great way to hear the radio. It doesn't decrease any appreciable sound from the stereo system in the truck, but it's a good, clean option. The next part I want to talk about is the antenna and the antenna cable. So this is what's called a PL259 connector, and it's what goes into this port on the back of the radio. This particular antenna is called an NMO style. You can see the large diameter here, and this is an NMO antenna. I'll get to antennas in a second. This is an NMO mount that you put through the roof of your truck. This is the way my antenna is mounted. This one happened to come without a wire on the end of it. So when you do order this online, and I don't carry these yet, I will, make sure to order it with the PL259 connector attached. Usually it adds $10 extra to the cost of the unit. Now, if you have a GJ third brake light and you've ordered the antenna mounting option, you'll see one of these mounted to the top of the GJ third brake light. It has a couple of wires to it, and this particular one I have does not have the PL259 connector on it, but it will come with a PL259 connector. So I have a couple of different types of antennas. So this is my short antenna. I love this antenna because it's on my truck all the time. You'll see I'm bending it like a noodle here. I can go through a car wash with it. I can drive in and out of a garage here at my house, if I could fit my truck in my garage. But if I go into a city garage, a parking structure, it works just fine. When I go on long trips, I have a different antenna. This antenna is much longer. Hi, Gunnar. And you can see it has a different type of connection. So I keep this one in my truck under the back seat. I take the little one off when I go on long range trips where I want a few extra miles of coverage. Now, some options This one happens to be a CB antenna, but they make antennas with a magnet mount. Now, obviously, that won't work on a Gen 2 or Gen 3 truck, but it works on steel roof trucks. Just make sure that when you run the cable, you don't put the cable through the sliding back window. That sharp pinch in there will wreck the cable. I recommend you go through the door and let the door slam on it all the time. The door seal is soft enough that it shouldn't be a problem. So, after you select the radio, you need to make sure you understand how you're going to get power to it. Next is understand, if you've had a remote radio, how you are going to mount that radio, be it an MBF4 kit, my metal bracket. Next is make sure you know how you're going to hear the radio. Do you need a speaker extended? Do you need this? Is the radio going to sit up on top of your dash and the speaker on the radio will work just fine? And microphone. Is the microphone cord long enough for where the radio is mounted to reach you? If not, consider extensions. And lastly, your antenna. So, I think that's it. So, if you have any questions, please reach out to me. I'm here for you. The last thing I want to do is see you upset and frustrated on the day you're doing your install because you forgot to get all the accessories that you need. Thank you so much, and thanks again for everyone's support.